March 2020. Airbnb is about to go public. One of the hottest IPOs in years. A $30 billion valuation. Brian Chesky is weeks away from becoming one of the richest people on Earth. Then the world shuts down. In 8 weeks, Airbnb loses 80% of its business. Journalists start asking, is this the end of Airbnb? Will the company even survive? Brian sits in emergency board meetings. There are quiet questions, not just about the company, about him. Is he the right person to lead through this? He's been here before, years earlier. Paris, terror attacks. He turned a shower into a command center because there was nowhere else to go. That same feeling, the walls closing in. But this time, it's different. This time, the thing he built from air mattresses and cereal boxes is about to collapse. And everyone's watching. To understand why this moment was so dangerous, you have to go back. Back to the harmless-looking idea that was never supposed to be a company. Back to the toy that accidentally became a weapon. Brian Chesky grew up in Niskayuna, New York. A small town, normal family. His parents were social workers, not the typical background for someone who'd build a $100 billion empire. But Brian was different. He was the kid who asked Santa for poorly designed toys. Not because he wanted to play with them, because he wanted to redesign them. He'd spend hours drawing, hundreds of pages, obsessively trying to recreate the world on paper. Not just copying it, improving it, designing worlds he could escape into. Worlds where he fit. Because growing up, Brian didn't fit. He was small, undersized, struggled to connect. Different wasn't good when you're a kid. Different meant lonely. So he drew, he designed, he created. By the time he got to the Rhode Island School of Design, he could draw like a professional. And that's where everything changed. Because at RISD, they told him something no one had told him before. You can redesign everything around you. You can change the world. He chose industrial design, not graphic design, not fine art. Industrial design, the design of physical objects. Everything from a toothbrush to a spaceship, they said. But it was more than that. Industrial design meant understanding how things worked, not just how they looked. You had to know materials, manufacturing, cost, market. Who's buying this? How do they use it? What problem does it solve? It was systems thinking, behavioral design, economics, all wrapped into one. Brian didn't know it then, but this was the perfect education for what came next. After graduation, he moved to Los Angeles, got a job at a design firm. The job with health insurance his mom wanted. He designed products for entrepreneurs. Toys, medical equipment, random stuff. One day, his boss tells him, "You're going to be on a reality TV show." It was called American Inventor, a spin-off of American Idol. Contestants got $50,000 to hire a design firm. Brian was that firm. And he ended up designing a toilet seat for a magician. Sitting there, working on that toilet seat, something clicked. What's the difference between me and this magician? The magician took a chance. The magician was an entrepreneur. Brian was just designing other people's dreams. Then a package arrives from his friend Joe Gebbia, another RISD grad. It's a seat cushion, shaped like human buttocks, with a handle called Buns, and it's beautiful, sold at the Museum of Modern Art. Joe's email says, "I started a company. Come to San Francisco." October 2007. Brian packs everything into the back of his Honda Civic. He has $1,000 in the bank. He drives to San Francisco. Joe tells him the rent is $1,150. Brian didn't ask that before driving across the country. That weekend, there's a design conference coming to San Francisco. All the hotels are sold out. Joe has an idea. What if we just turn our apartment into a bed and breakfast for the conference? They don't have beds. But Joe has 3 air mattresses from camping. They pull them out of the closet. Inflate them. Call it airbedandbreakfast.com. 3 people book. 1 from Boston, 1 from Utah, 1 from India. And something unexpected happens. When someone lives with you, a year of friendship gets compressed into 3 days. These strangers arrive. They leave as friends. Brian stays in touch with them. One guest invites him to his wedding. Brian realizes something. This isn't just about money. This is about connection, about belonging, about people. But after that first weekend, nothing. 4 months of silence. They try pivoting. Maybe a roommate matching site. Then they realize someone already built roommates.com. They're tens of thousands of dollars in credit card debt. No one thinks this is a real business. Brian goes home for Christmas. People ask what he's doing. I'm an entrepreneur. His mom, you're unemployed. And she's right. The line between entrepreneur and unemployed? It's mostly in your head. They launch again. South by Southwest, Austin, Texas. 2 bookings. One of them is Brian. Then the Democratic National Convention. Denver, Barack Obama. 80,000 people coming to a city with 27,000 hotel rooms. They get 80 bookings. National press, CNN, New York Times. The following weekend, 0 bookings. They're broke, desperate. Late at night, they have an idea. If the airbeds aren't selling, why not breakfast? They design cereal boxes, presidential themed, Obama O's, the breakfast of change, Captain McCain's, a maverick in every bite. They call General Mills. Can you make 100,000 of these? Please don't ever call us again. So they buy 1,000 boxes of regular cereal, hand-fold cardboard, hand glue every box. Sell them for $40 each. Make $30,000. Brian remembers thinking, I wonder if Mark Zuckerberg ever glued cereal boxes. The answer was no. This is not a good sign. But the cereal gets them into Y Combinator. Paul Graham looks at the boxes and says, if you can convince people to pay $40 for a $4 box of cereal, maybe you can get strangers to stay in each other's homes. January 2009. First day of Y Combinator. Paul Graham draws a chart on the whiteboard. He says, it's better to have 100 people who love you than 1,000,000 people who sort of like you. This changes everything. Brian's been trying to figure out how to get 1,000,000 users. He doesn't know where to start. But 100 people? He can do that. He can meet them, understand them, design something perfect just for them. Paul Graham gives them one more piece of advice. Go to your users. Live with them. Brian and Joe fly to New York. They knock on doors. They meet every host. They live in their homes. They write the first reviews themselves. They photograph the listings with borrowed cameras. Brian notices something. The photos are terrible. Hosts don't know how to take pictures, or they don't have cameras, or they can't figure out how to upload them. What if a photographer just showed up? Brian starts doing it himself, knocking on doors. Hi, I'm the photographer. Hosts are confused. The founders are photographing my home? Yes. because that's what you do when you only have 100 people. Brian moves out of his own bedroom, turns it into a meeting room, starts living full-time in Airbnbs. Every friction point, every awkward moment, every complaint, he feels it. He realizes something. The product isn't the website. The product is the feeling you have when you check into someone's home. That invisible moment of truth. Around this time, Brian reads a biography of Walt Disney. 600 pages. He reads it twice. There's a chapter about Snow White, 1937. Disney's betting the entire company on this feature-length animated film. Everyone thinks he's insane. They call it Disney's folly. To plan the movie, Disney invents something new: the storyboard. Breaking the film into frames, designing every moment, every emotion, scene by scene. Brian has an idea. What if we storyboarded the perfect Airbnb trip from search to checkout? Every frame, every emotion. They hire Pixar storyboard artists, map it out. The entire journey. But Brian goes further. He creates something he calls the 6-star thought experiment. On Airbnb, 5 stars just means nothing bad happened. 5 stars is, you knocked on the door, they opened it. That's it. The bar is low. So what's 6 stars? 6 stars is, they pick you up at the airport. There's wine waiting. A handwritten note. 7 stars? A limo picks you up. They know you like surfing. There's a surfboard waiting. 8 stars? You land and there's an elephant. A parade in your honor. 9 stars? The Beatles check in. 5,000 screaming fans. 10 stars? Elon Musk takes you to space. The point isn't to do all of this. The point is to force the team to think bigger, to design moments that people love, not just moments that don't suck. They reverse engineer which pieces are scalable, which touches can happen a million times. This becomes the blueprint. Not just designing a website, designing feelings, scripting emotions like a movie, anticipation, relief, delight. Airbnb isn't just a platform, it's psychological engineering repeated in millions of homes. While they're quietly doing this, a much louder war is brewing in Europe. 2010, Airbnb is starting to work. Not huge, but working. A few thousand listings, some traction. Then someone warns Brian, an investor named Howard Hartenbaum. He says, as long as these 2 brothers haven't copied you, you're safe. Brian asks, what 2 brothers? The Samware brothers. They're notorious. They clone successful startups, scale them fast, and usually, they kill the original. Brian feels relieved. Well, they haven't copied us yet. Howard says, if they haven't by now, they probably won't. A few months later, Brian notices something strange. Suspicious activity. People spamming Airbnb users, scraping data. Then the news breaks. The Samware brothers have launched Wimdu, a perfect clone of Airbnb, focused on Europe, and they've raised $90 million in 30 days. They hire 400 people, open 20 offices across Europe. Brian has 40 employees. It took him 2.5 years to find those 40 people. He has no idea how to even open a second office. This isn't just competition. This is an existential threat. Here's why. Most companies, if they lose Europe, they're just smaller. But Airbnb? If you lose Europe, there is no Airbnb. A travel website where you can't travel to Europe is like a phone without signal. Pointless. Brian calls Mark Zuckerberg. The Samwares cloned Facebook too. Something called StudiVZ in Germany. He calls Andrew Mason from Groupon. Groupon's European business? That was a Samwer clone called City Deal. Groupon had to buy it. The Samwers made hundreds of millions. In fact, Groupon's insane growth, the thing that made it the fastest growing startup in history at the time, that was mostly Europe. That was the Samwers. Andrew Mason tells Brian, "Yeah, they're probably going to kill you." Not helpful. Brian is terrified. The Samwers have more money, more people, more offices, and they're moving faster than Airbnb ever has. The Samwers make an offer. Sell us Airbnb Europe, or we'll destroy you. Brian has a choice. Sell or fight. He talks to Paul Graham. Paul says something that sticks. "You're missionaries. They're mercenaries. Missionaries usually win." He explains, "You had the baby, now you have to raise it." They just want to flip it. They don't love this. You do. Brian makes a bet. The Samwers won't endure the long, grinding work of building a community. They want the quick exit, the big payday. So Airbnb goes to war. Brian flies to Europe, hires country managers, flies them to San Francisco, trains them for months, teaches them the culture, the mission, the 6-star thinking, then sends them back. Berlin, Paris, London, Amsterdam. These young managers are exhausted, working around the clock, trying to build communities one host at a time. Meanwhile, Wimdu is throwing millions at ads, SEO, sales teams, but something starts to happen. Airbnb's hosts are more engaged. The product is more cohesive. The community feels real, not manufactured. Wimdu is fast, but Airbnb is better. Hosts choose Airbnb, guests choose Airbnb, because it's not just a transaction, it's belonging. 2 years later, Wimdu is fading. The Samwers move on. They sell it off, quietly. Airbnb wins, but the lesson is clear. Beating copycats was one thing. The real enemy wasn't a clone. It was something much bigger. The laws of hundreds of cities, and the most powerful lobby in the world, the hotel industry. 2010, New York passes a law targeting illegal hotels. Airbnb isn't mentioned, but it applies to them. Brian's told, "Don't worry, they won't enforce it against you." 2 years later, a letter arrives from the New York Attorney General. They want data on thousands of hosts. They're threatening massive fines. Brian's first instinct? Fight. Rally the hosts. Organize protests. Be the rebel. They stage a rally at City Hall. Signs, chanting, press coverage. But then Brian realizes something. A rebel brand is a problem when you're literally putting strangers together in homes. When your entire business depends on trust. You can't be the company fighting authority while asking people to trust each other. So he pivots. He hires Belinda Johnson, his first major executive, former lawyer. She tells him something counterintuitive. If people don't like you, meet with them. It's hard to hate someone up close. Brian thinks this is insane. Why would I meet with people who want to destroy us? But he does it anyway. He goes on what he calls a hate tour. He asks to meet everyone who dislikes Airbnb, regulators, city officials, housing activists, hotel lobbyists, and he listens. Before speaking, before pitching, he just listens. Something unexpected happens. When you sit across from someone, look them in the eye, and genuinely listen, it's harder for them to see you as the enemy. Brian learned something else. His original plan was naive. He thought they'd create one model regulation, then roll it out everywhere. Portland does it, San Francisco copies it, London copies it. Done. But every city says the same thing. We're not Portland. We're not San Francisco. We're different. And they're right. Every city is different. Different housing markets, different tourism needs, different politics. So Airbnb changes strategy. They treat each city like a user persona. Custom regulations tailored to local needs. Some cities want night caps, maximum 90 days a year. Fine. Some want proof of residency. You can only rent your primary home. Okay. Some want registration systems, public databases of hosts. And then Airbnb does something brilliant. Something that changes the entire conversation. They voluntarily start collecting and remitting hotel taxes, occupancy taxes, tourist taxes, the same taxes hotels pay. Most cities don't even ask for this. Airbnb offers it. Why? Because now Airbnb isn't just a platform, it's a revenue stream. Billions of dollars flowing into city budgets. Since they started, Airbnb has collected over $6 billion in taxes for cities and states. That's real money. Roads, schools, services. Suddenly, cities that wanted to ban Airbnb are negotiating. Because banning Airbnb means losing tax revenue. But here's the dark side, the unintended consequences. Airbnb wasn't designed to remove housing from the market. It was designed for people to rent out a spare room or their home while they're traveling. But people are smart, and when there's money to be made, people optimize. Investors start buying apartments, not to live in, not to rent long-term, to turn into full-time Airbnbs. Neighborhoods in Barcelona, Paris, New York, Amsterdam, they start hollowing out. Long-term residents priced out, replaced by tourists. Ghost hotels, entire buildings converted. No one living there, just a rotating cast of travelers. Housing activists aren't wrong. In some cities, Airbnb is making the housing crisis worse. Brian admits this, publicly. He says, "We didn't foresee how fast this would grow. We didn't predict the unintended consequences." In tech, for years, growth equaled good. More users? Good. More bookings? Good. Bigger? Better. But powerful platforms always create collateral damage. And Airbnb is learning this the hard way. The question isn't whether Airbnb changed cities. It did. The question is whether that change was worth it. And the answer? It depends who you ask. But one thing is clear. Cities weren't the only thing breaking. Inside Airbnb, something else was starting to drift. The culture, the product, the magic. Late 2019, Brian goes on a hike in Billionaire, California with Joe and Nate, his co-founders. They're walking, reflecting. Airbnb is about to go public, valued at $30 billion. They should feel incredible. But something's gnawing at them. Brian says it out loud. "We look like a grown-up company, but we have adolescent problems." Here's what happened. Airbnb grew fast. And like most tech companies, they scaled the way everyone said you're supposed to scale. They created divisions: homes, experiences, transportation, a magazine. Each division had subdivisions, 10 marketing departments, countless A/B tests, bureaucracy thickening. They were spending close to $1 billion a year on performance marketing, Google ads, Facebook ads, optimizing for clicks, for conversions, for short-term metrics. The product was drifting, away from the handcrafted 6-star thinking, toward whatever the data said would get more bookings this quarter. Brian has this recurring nightmare. He leaves the company, comes back a year later, and he's horrified. It's not the company he built. It's something else. Something corporate. Something soulless. He tells Joe and Nate. They feel it too. But what do? They have an IPO coming. Investors expecting growth. Employees expecting promotions. The machine is running. Then the pandemic hits. March 2020. The world shuts down. Airbnb loses 80% of its revenue in 8 weeks. Journalists write headlines. Is this the end of Airbnb? Sequoia Capital sends out a memo. RIP good times. Just like 2008. Brian is back in that moment. The moment where everything could disappear. But this time, something's different. This time, he has a choice. Not just about survival, about what kind of company they want to be. He tells the board, "We're not making business decisions. We're making principal decisions." What does that mean? A business decision is, what gives us the best outcome? A principal decision is, how do we want to be remembered? When you don't know the outcome, when the data is useless because the world has changed, you fall back on principles. Brian writes them down. Act fast. Preserve cash. Think about all stakeholders. Win the next travel season. And then the hardest decision. They have to lay off 25% of the company. Nearly 2,000 people. Brian writes a letter to everyone being laid off. He doesn't hide behind corporate language. He's honest, painful, human. He extends healthcare, creates an alumni directory so recruiters can find them, personally calls CEOs to help them get rehired. The letter ends, "I have a deep feeling of love for all of you." Something unexpected happens. Hundreds of people who just got laid off send thank you notes to Brian, not because they're happy about losing their jobs, but because they felt seen, respected, human. And the people who stayed? They come back harder, more focused. Brian makes another decision. Radical restructuring. No more divisions. Back to a functional organization. One design team. One engineering team. One marketing team. Like a startup, executives have to be in the details. No more managers managing managers. If you're leading design, you better know how to design. They shift from continuous shipping, endless micro-features, to 2 big releases a year. Product and marketing working together. Like launching a movie. Brian becomes the conductor, reviewing everything. Not micromanaging, but ensuring it all fits together. One cohesive vision. And something miraculous happens. The business starts recovering. People get in cars, drive to Airbnbs a tank of gas away, stay for weeks, work remotely. Airbnb's costs drop, efficiency skyrockets. Before the pandemic, they were losing money. After, billions in free cash flow. 40 cents of every dollar becomes profit, not from growth, from focus. December 2020, they go public. Not at 30 billion, at 100 billion. From the brink of death to one of the most valuable companies in the world in 8 months. Brian learned something. Growth almost killed them. Crisis saved them because crisis forced them to ask, what actually matters? Turns out, most of what they were doing didn't matter. But there's one more thing Brian's about to discover. The one thing he can't engineer his way out of. IPO Day. December 10th, 2020. Airbnb opens at a $100 billion valuation. Brian Chesky becomes a billionaire, one of the richest people on Earth. Externally, it looks like the ultimate happy ending. The kid who glued cereal boxes who couldn't pay rent, who was told this would never work. He just built one of the most valuable companies in the world. A week later, Brian's life is almost identical. Same desk, same calls, same empty evenings. The high fades, and what's left is the same life he had before, just with more zeros in a bank account he barely looks at. He realizes something disturbing. He sacrificed everything to get here. 16-hour days, 7 days a week. For years. Through the pandemic, even more. He felt guilty anytime he wasn't working. Every hour not spent on Airbnb felt like wasted time. Like he was letting people down. Work became an addiction. And unlike most addictions, everyone celebrated it. No one stages an intervention for a workaholic CEO. They give you awards. But now, at the top of the mountain, Brian feels something he didn't expect. Lonely. Deeply, profoundly lonely. He has acquaintances, employees, board members, people he sees in meetings. But friends? Real friends? The kind you can call at 2 a.m.? The kind who know what's actually going on in your life? He doesn't have many of those anymore. His high school friends? He hasn't talked to them in years. His college roommates? They drifted. Old girlfriends? Gone. Family? He loves them, but weeks go by without real conversations. And here's the thing. It's not that people don't care. It's that they're afraid to bother him. They assume he's too busy, too important, too successful to want to hear from them. And Brian? He's so busy reacting to inbound, emails, meetings, crises, that he never reaches out first. So everyone waits, and no one calls. Brian has a conversation with President Obama. They've developed a relationship. Obama's become a mentor. Brian mentions he's single, thinking about getting into another relationship. Obama says something unexpected. You don't need a relationship right now. You need friends. Brian's confused. I have friends. Obama explains. Do you? Because if you call them, do they know what's going on in your life? Or do you have to get them up to speed? That hits. Brian realizes he has people in his life. But if he calls them, the first thing they say is, "What's new? What's going on?" He has to catch them up, explain everything, like they're strangers. Obama says, if someone's up to date, they're connected. If they're not really in your life. Brian starts making a list. Who are my actual friends? Not people I know, not people I work with. Friends. The list is shorter than he thought. So he makes a decision. He's going to be intentional. He's going to reach out. Regularly. No more waiting for people to contact him. He starts reconnecting. High school friends. College friends. People he lost touch with. And something happens. They're thrilled to hear from him. They thought he didn't have time for them. They didn't want to bother him. But they missed him. They still cared. Brian realizes he was never as alone as he thought. The loneliness was an illusion. Self-imposed isolation. He also starts spending time with other entrepreneurs, people in similar situations. Daniel Ek from Spotify, others, because his old friends can't fully understand what he's going through. They can sympathize, but they don't know what it's like to run a company through a crisis, to lay off thousands of people, to feel the weight of that responsibility. But other founders do. They have shared experiences, shared struggles. Brian needs both. The friends who knew him before, and the friends who understand him now. But there's one more regret, one that cuts deeper. He's 42 years old, no kids, no family of his own. He spent his 30s in 2 long relationships, 9 years total. They didn't work out. Now he's single, dating some, but it's complicated. His life is structured, scheduled. There's less spontaneity, less chance encounters. And he realizes he gave his prime years to building Airbnb. And he doesn't regret it, not entirely. But if he's honest, his biggest regret won't be the company he didn't build. It'll be the time he didn't spend with people he loved, the family he didn't start. The irony isn't lost on him. The man who built a company around belonging feels deeply alone the moment the world declares him a massive success. But Brian's a designer, and designers solve problems. So he starts thinking, what if Airbnb could help with this? Not just finding spaces, but reconnecting people. Friend trips, reunions, bringing people together across distances. Because here's the thing, most people aren't traveling alone. 80% of Airbnb trips are with other people. Travel isn't about the place, it's about who you're with. And maybe that's the next chapter, moving Airbnb from space to people, from transactions to connection. Because if Brian learned anything, it's this. Success doesn't fill you. People do. Airbnb versus Hilton. Let's put this in perspective. Hilton took a century to build. Founded in 1919, grew hotel by hotel, decade after decade, brick and mortar, real estate, capital. Airbnb matched Hilton's room count in 10 years, with almost no real estate. How? Psychological storyboarding, frictionless payments, weaponized word of mouth, training hosts to hit those 6-star beats over and over in millions of homes. Who won? Designers, creatives, families who could finally afford to travel, people saved from foreclosure by renting a spare room, new micro-entrepreneurs in small towns who'd never had access to global markets before. Who lost? Tenants priced out of city centers, local communities hollowed into transient neighborhoods, traditional hotels strangled by a platform that sets the rules but owns nothing. Here's the subtler truth. Airbnb didn't invent greed, didn't invent housing crises, but it gave people a beautifully designed interface to turn housing into an asset class. At scale, globally, instantly. Brian admits they didn't foresee the speed of it. Growth culture in tech rewarded them for being blind. Move fast, break things, worry about consequences later. But there's another layer, one most people don't think about. Airbnb has identity verification on over 100 million people. Detailed travel patterns, tax data, payment information. Where you go, when, with whom. It's an unintentional infrastructure layer. For states, for cities, for surveillance. And there's the political power. Brian went from being laughed out of investor meetings to meeting presidents, prime ministers, ministers of loneliness. Airbnb isn't just a travel app. It's a diplomatic actor. But here's the deeper design. Airbnb isn't just about where we travel. It's about how we live. Remote work stays. People living on Airbnb. The line between home and hotel dissolving. Your apartment becomes a revenue stream. Your city becomes a hotel lobby. The irony? Brian Chesky, the kid who felt like he didn't fit in anywhere, who designed worlds to escape into. He built one of the most powerful tools for global belonging, and then had to use it to fix the isolation that same modern life created. Remember that shower in Paris? The terror attacks. Brian creating a command center in a bathroom because there was nowhere else to go. The same fear, different stakes. Both times, Airbnb survives by turning chaos into a chance to redesign itself. The disturbing truth isn't that Airbnb is evil, it's that one designer's obsession with perfect experiences quietly rewired how millions of us think about home, trust, each other. And we didn't even notice it happening. Airbnb started as a way to pay rent. It became a machine that reshaped cities, friendships, and the meaning of home. If a few air mattresses and a storyboard can bend an entire industry, what else in your life was quietly designed to feel natural? Watch the next investigation to see how another friendly tech giant used the same psychology at an even bigger scale. Subscribe for more untold stories behind the brands running your life.